This lesson, we will learn how to read in a text file. Note that a CSV file is very similar to a text file. The only difference is it's CSV files generally have a comma that separates each one of the values, thus the name .csv, comma separated values. But we'll learn easier ways, especially when we get to numerical Python, NumPy, on how to read in a CSV file. So maybe we won't use these particular techniques in the future, but for right now, you definitely need to understand how to bring in a text file using these methods. The idea here is to read in the file and acquire the data into some sort of data structure to be maybe used by later programs. That's when I say the idea, I'm talking about the video. This video right here is all about capturing or reading in the data. And then in video 2, we'll do something with that data that we're going to read in this lesson or this video. And then in video 3 for this lesson, we will aggregate, or we'll write that aggregated data to a file and maybe say something about it. Okay, so let's get started doing that. So just in case you've never brought in a file in the Spider to sort of check it out, I claim that you probably need to do that to know what the file looks like. So if you look at here, you can see that the courses AY21-1, even though this is not a completed yet, the database at least is not completed yet because I believe plebes haven't been brought in. So like if you come down here to MA103, I just scraped this off of USMA's website and then found that there's only a couple, maybe 12 people that are enrolled right now in the MA103 course, and 0 are right now enrolled in MA153, and that'll change once we figure out where people are going. But I just wanted to point that out, that I scraped the data, and this is at the beginning of summer, so maybe all of the information's not in there yet. And I'll re-scrape this, so don't think this is the final thing. I'll re-scrape it before, and the stuff that I post to the website will be the most updated data. But what all this is, and so let me go back to the OneNote just real quick. So this is just each course that's in for academic year 21-1. So that's 2021 term 1. So here's all the courses that we're given, and then I sort of cut it off. But all of the courses that we're given here at West Point are there. The title is going to be there, the credit hours, the number of sections, and then number enrolled would be that number, and the course director is that one. So that's the data that we're dealing with, and we want to read this data in this first video. So first of all, if you read the semester, if you read the learning objectives, what we want to do is we want to be able to do this in sort of a general way, so that if I were to take 20-1 and read it in, it does the same, or it will do the same things that I want it to do. So I'm going to let file equal to courses. As long as you name it, have some kind of naming convention, then you should be able to use it on any of this data that's scraped. Semester, and then .txt. All I'm doing here is just is creating the file name, and I'm doing it in such that there's a naming convention where I do courses and then the semester and then .text. So if I had a whole bunch of in my folder, if I had a whole bunch of different academic year terms, I could do the same analysis or the same thing that I'm doing to this one, right? So we're gonna develop it with this AY21-1 text file, but I'm telling you that if it were 20-1 or 21-2 or 22-1 or whatever, we would be able to do the same analysis. So let me open up. So I opened it up in here. The idea here is to just sort of check out how this thing looks, right? So there's a name here at the beginning, and you see that it's jumping. So I'm going back and forth here. This is, and then in between title and credit hours. So these are all spaces, and then it jumps to number of sections. And these are all spaces, and then it jumps to enrolled. So it looks like there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there should be probably 6 columns. And this is a tab that's separating course from title, and it's a tab that's separating title from course hours, and so on and so forth, right? So a tab. So we need to figure out how to get in there and mess around with that. So it's a good thing to always open your data and know what it looks like, knowing that this first line is just a naming, or the name of each one of the columns. That's a good thing to know. So we'll come back here, and I'm going to just call it data, and we're going to put it into a list. And in file is how we're going to open up this data and start using it. So open file. This R means that it's going to be a read only. And then anytime you start an in file, anytime you open a file, so you don't mess anything up, you want to just right now close it before I do anything else, because if you don't, you'll forget to. So infile.close. So I opened the file, and then I close the file. If you don't do that, it's possible that you could corrupt the file, so you don't want to do that. So the second that you start an open, go ahead and do the close, whatever this name is. So this is the variable in file. And in file is what I generally call my file that I'm bringing into the program. And now what we want to do is do this little for loop. So all the for loop is going to do is going to go through. It's going to go through one line at a time in file. So if you just wanted to see what that looks like, you can just print. We'll do that. We'll run that. Courses. It says there is no file. Oh, maybe it's an underscore. And all right, there it is. Okay, so all it did was it went in and each one of these files, or each one of these lines inside infile, it just printed out the line. And the reason why it's got a new line in it, right? So each one of these suckers probably has a new line in it. Let's see what a particular line looks like. So instead of printing out the line, let's go for letter in line. So I'm going to take this print out. So it's also a nice thing to do, is be able to know what each one of these characters are. So right now it's just printing it. But if I wanted to know what that character was, let's see, we might do something like this. RES result. It's one of my results, and I'm giving it a blank nothing. So it's a string with nothing in it. And then what I want to do is I want to result plus equals. Let's see, it's RE. So the representation of letter. So this is for letter in line, and then instead of doing the print, which would get rid of the quotation marks, what I'm doing is the representation of that thing. And so what it's gonna look like is a whole lot of quotation marks, but in between each one of those quotation marks is actually what Python sees that's in this file. So that's why I wanted to print the sucker off. Well, I think, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Hit the button. Oh, I forgot to print it. So print res. Let's see. Yeah. All right. So if you go, well, here, let's print the line too. So print line. Well, I'm going to print both of them then, so you'll see. So the line is ZH477 topics internet. So we can go up to one that's not a weird looking ZH thing. How about, I wonder if we can get to a math one. Nope, we can't get to any math ones. All right, we'll just do it like a pH one then. So pH 382, intermediate electrodynamics, 325, Lieutenant Colonel Locks. So what does that look like if now I'm going to go over here and I'm going to print off each character one at a time? So it's a P, so that's where that P comes from, and then an H, and that's where the H, and then 3, 8, 2, and then there's a space in there, it looks like, and then a /T. Think about that a second. What do you think the /T? Well, I don't know. Let's keep reading. So here, let me move this over a little bit. So individual study in physics /T, 3/T, 5/T. So the slash in the /n is a new line. So what does this /T represent? Let's see, intermediate electrodynamics. Okay, so intermediate electrodynamics /T, PH382 space /T. So the PH382, oh, ain't gonna let me do that. I don't know why. Yeah, I guess we could just pick out any one of these suckers, but 382 was the one I was looking at. And then each one of these /T's represent a tab. So there's a tab there, and this /n represents a new line. So, and that's why you get this extra line in here, is that new, because I got a print statement that does a new line, and then another /n that's doing a new line. That's why you have an extra one of those in each one. Okay, so if that's the case, then what we want to do is we want to split this thing. So I want PH382 all by itself. I want this entire name all by itself, however long it is. I want this number 3 by itself. I want that number 3 by itself. I want the 2, is that 2, 5? Yeah, it's like 25. So there must be 25 students enrolled. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to split this thing up by T. So what does that look like? I can take out this. So I'm going to control 1 and just comment that out. I'm going to take this out. I should have controlled 1 out. And then 4. So row is equal to line dot split. And I'm going to put a /T. The button again, and now what we got is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I have 6 in each one of those. I have 6 elements, and maybe dot. Let's see, what is it? One of my string. If I want to clear all the white space out, let's see. That is called. Strip. Let's see if that'll work. It's split. No, that's not. Then we printed a row, and then we want to data, because I'm gonna record this, dot append. And let's see, what else do we want to do? So we're splitting it up with data.row. I'm closing it, and let's find out what happens. All right, so let's look at data, and it looks like if I open this up, then I get each one of those things, and it has that extra little /n in it. I wonder if I can clean that up. Doing, let's see, data 0 and -1. All right, so what would happen if I did this dot strip? Right, so it takes out, so strip, if I do it on each one of my columns inside each one of these, then I can get rid of the extra /n's. Okay, so let's do that. Let's go. So row is equal to that, and then for column in row. Oh, let's do this. Let's do I, comma, column in enumerator row. And then what I'm going to do is say row I is equal to column dot strip. All right, let's see, open it up, and it looks like it got rid of it. And we did. Okay. So let's see. Info. Yeah, I can get rid of all this stuff too. Right now, what we've got on our hands is I've put this in here as a academic year 21-1. I have this naming convention that we're using. We're bringing in some data, data structure. So I got some kind of data that's going to be a list. And it, oh, by the way, it's going to be a list of lists. So if I open this up, it would be a list of lists. You know, another thing that we could do if we were really concerned with it is I could try to convert it to a number right now, but we'll worry about that later. We'll worry about that when we get to other files. So this is reading it in, and now I have the data. I have the data that's in that file in this little structure here, and I can go through and figure out who all the course directors were. Maybe we can ask a question about that. Maybe we can take PL, take the first two letters, and calculate all the number of students that's going to be in each one of those, in each one of the prefixes, right? So we could do something like that. We could calculate the number of credit hours because we have credit hours that goes along with it, right? So I have credit hours, I have number enrolled. So we could do all sorts of things like that in order to figure out something about this set of data. All right, that's all I got. I will see you in a few minutes when we start using this data in order to aggregate it up to something.